are back with something new. I am one of your hosts, Solaris, and welcome to the first ever season of Reign of Pain, where we dive into the edges of desire, thrill of endurance, with the art of sadomasochism and pain-related play. So, this is your space to explore, educate, power. Whether you're a seasoned player or you're just beginning your journey into this form of play. So pain play isn't just about sensation, it's about that trust and connection and really transformation. Every episode here will shed light on different techniques, different explorations, journey. Of course, we'll talk about the safety stuff and the inner worlds of people who embrace the sting, the thud, and the different sensations while they surrender to seeing stars. So step into the night and embrace the unknown and find your own version of the Reign of Pain. And of course, as always, a little bit of a content warning. This is listener discretion advised. There is a content warning for potentially distressing topics. We will be discussing a multitude of adult-only topics here, and so you are encouraged to consider your own capacity before continuing. Well, again, they say that misery very much does love company, and I must have again been feeling kind of lonely. Because this time around, I have brought some folks who are actually very close to my neck of the woods, which is rare indeed. And they are suffering through the significant amount of snow in the region that I am also suffering through. So, however, they are coming to bring music and festive beats to the Reign of Pain Festival. So welcome to tonight's show with me, Boomerstud and SoonerBabe, or Boomer and Bree for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me, guys.
Oh, thanks for having us, Amber.
Thank you.
Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself for our listeners per our usual kind of way of doing things around here?
Sure. My name is Boomerstud. Folks in our community know it's me just as Boomer. It's my lovely wife, SoonerBabe. Most folks should just call her Bree. We're a married couple, dom sub, been in the lifestyle for about 11 years at this point. Kind of do a whole bunch of different types of play, mostly impact based. We do kind of go off in other areas, starting to get into scratchies and some electrics and a whole bunch of other types of stuff.
But our main focus is always, I guess our main love, I should say, has always been body drumming, which we actually saw at our very first class at the local dungeon that we ever went to. And we knew really almost nothing about the lifestyle, and we were presented with body drumming, and it just clicked. We love music. We like to dance, and you take two things you like, music and impact, and kind of get a winning combination. So that's kind of, we started everything right with this and just made it our own.
So body drumming seems to be a little bit of an Ohio Valley kind of a kink thing. It seems to be one of our like niche things. I don't see it outside of here very much. So can you tell our audience from around the world a little bit about what body drumming is, what they can expect? Because I'm sure they have seen the big sticks with the pointy balls on them from your presenter card. And lots of folks have gone, oh my God, where the fuck can I find those things? Number one. And I'm sure lots of people are very intrigued.
Yeah, actually, the origin, at least from the version that we learned, the first class, like she said, that we attended was taught by a couple out of Columbus. So yeah, it still was regional around here. We had another colleague of ours that tried to backtrack to figure out the overall inspiration, and it went back to that person, to the person before, to the person before, who actually ended up getting the inspiration by watching a marching band out in Utah. It was actually the percussion line practicing their routine, um, pretty much in a drumming circle. So they were doing the stuff, whacking on each other's backs. Of course, he found a way to pervert it, and that's how it started from our side. So there might be other versions out there, but that's the general history from that.
Of course, perverted things come from Utah. I have. Sorry, the ex-Mormon in me just has to make that joke. Um, sorry, Utahns. Just the ex-Mormon in me just has to. Um,
In terms of what body drumming is, basically it's the merging of, like we said, music with impact. And the bottom is laying on a massage table. So they provide a nice, drum for the drummer. And we have music playing in different ways, depending on if it's at home or it's in the dungeon. And the drummer just drums to that beat of the song. And so all the fancy drumsticks that you might see, like the ones in our picture, or if you go, and we'll show some more in our class, as well as you can get them at Cincinnati Body Drumming on FET. But they are all made by Kevin, or sorry, Boomer. He makes all of them, and the playlist is picked by him. And so basically why we love this is it's fun, but it's also super customizable. So the spiky balls in our picture are actually dog toys. So they are put on wooden dowels. And one of the best places to find drumsticks is actually, or drum balls, I guess you should say, is actually at a pet store, because they already have a hole for you. But you can make anything that's a ball that you can stick on a stick and hit somebody with is a potential body drumming stick.
And that was part of the cool part when we first learned about this, because I'm not a super handy person, but I am a crafty person. I'm like, I can't do leather working, I can't work on metal, but I mean, I can put a ball on a stick rather easily, especially like she's saying, in cases where it already has a hole on it and you're literally just putting a dowel rod in. So the first probably 4 or 5 pairs of implements went pretty quick. Most of the ones you can normally think of a ball on a stick, things like a racquetball or a tennis ball, a ping pong ball, a wiffle ball, all those all went pretty quick. And kind of where we started branching out or getting more known is very quickly we realized that when you have enough for a full set of these type of implements, they're kind of like flying all over the place. I mean, you bring them in a box or a bag, but there's no real organization. And if there's not a good flow in the root and throw yourself and define a matching pair of implements, it kind of ruins the scene. Likewise, when you're done, just being able to dump it and move on to the next one. So what we ended up doing relatively quickly, probably after the first 6 sets of implements were made, was to start doing some sort of case when we were actually in a scene. Yeah, think like a cardboard box with duct tape on it with holes in it that you just slide them in when you need them. It was a quick to drop them off, quick to pull up the next ones, and it worked pretty well. I mean, yeah, it was very, very low key, but it fit our need. We're now on our 6th version of cases and or tables. That's gradually increased the capacity, makes it look more professional, so it's more sturdy. Some more odds and end functionality, but that's one of the big things that folks end up noticing with ours is just the cool cases that we have.
I mean, it looks like, like just a whole smorgasbord of balls that you can pick from to hit somebody. And if, for instance, Boomer is drumming on somebody else, which happens all the time, I often, if I see somebody kind of coming up and looks curious, I always encourage them to ask me questions or touch a drumstick, because we always love teaching and sharing. So even in those moments in the dungeon where people are told, don't go, don't bother. Well, they don't bother Boomer, but I'm okay if they bother me because I'm not in the scene. And that's how we kind of get known in like our little local area, is that people will see us out and, they have that chance to interact with us, and not just watch us.
Yeah, there's pretty much every part turns into mass demo opportunities where we're doing it for 3 or 4 hours at a time, doing it on various folks. We have our own set of regulars who are very quickly to book up our time when they know that we're at a party. But then there's a bunch of other new people that have never seen it before. Because their balls on a stick, they're not really that scary. So in a lot of newcomer sort of environments, people get pointed our way a lot as well. I mean, it's not a flogger, it's not a knife. So it helps people ease into it a little bit. It also helps for people who might not have the confidence or might not have their own toys to be able just to kind of get used to be able to topping on someone. She mentioned it's obviously a form of rhythmic impact play. There are other versions of this that are more like a rhythmic massage. It doesn't necessarily have to hurt. And you still get some of those same benefits, which in addition to the music, in addition to the different types of implements, in addition to different types of intensities, it opens up to so many different types of people of all ages who want to partake in this.
And we've actually had people who are solely dedicated. They are dominants, tops, whatever. And then they get brave and, maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, they only can take a 2, but they enjoy just the feeling of being on the table and connecting that impact with the music. It's amazing how many tops we have known a long time eventually get brave enough to try it from the other side. And it also sometimes I'm not a top at all, but I can body drum on someone because I love music. And I think it's that connection with music that everybody kind of can have. And no, I'm not as talented or as coordinated as Boomer is because he's been doing it for years, but I still have fun. So on people that are friends, stuff like that, then, sometimes I get into it too, and I will top, and I don't top anything else. No way, not ever happening. But that's the joy. I mean, music brings everybody together.
And that's the third version of type of play for this, which kind of combines with the first two, but we do mention it in the class where it's a form of energy play, where all of our other types of play, I've not heard energy being mentioned. And part of that's, it's enthusiasm. It's doing a song that you like, so you kind of have the same energy as if you're dancing. But the bottom picks up on that in a positive way, as well as spectators. I mean, we normally have a pretty decent crowd on this, whether it's folks who have never seen it before, whether it's people who want to be next, whether it's those folks who just want to ask questions, or it's just an entertaining scene for them. That energy passes among all people. Even we have it set up so that you can have multiple people drumming on the same person, and they'll feed off each other as well. So it's a really cool experience that we've not had experienced in any other type of play.
It's an incredibly fun style of play from everything that I've seen with it. I'm not super great with it. I will be the first to admit. I know you're coming down to record your class this weekend to my dungeon space. I suck at drumming. I really suck at drumming. Like, it's bad. But I love body drumming. I love the vibrations. I love the deep vibrations in the body. I love the dog toy idea. And that makes the sadist in me happy. Someone recently gave me the idea of, blindfolding someone in a very serious scene and then using a dog toy as a gag, so that when they bite down, it just like surprisingly squeaks at them.
Well, the squeaker would not hold up for body drumming, but it might work really well for a gag. And actually, not a squeaker, but some of the very first body drumming sticks we had were made with like light up balls that we Walgreens or something.
Yeah,
and we've seen other people with them before, But the thing about those is they're really cool while they work, but they last like almost no time because it's super soft plastic. But
Yeah.
Or the battery just dies on the blinky lights. But they are relatively easy to make. So most people who try to get into them, that ends up being the first couple pairs that they make, just because it is so much easier to make them.
See, the squeaky toy inside the ball might not work very well, but the squeaky toy that you're hitting with the ball.
We actually have a pair of implements that is a turkey baster. You just got them at Kroger, but inside the baster portion is a high bounce ball.
Ah.
So you get a weird double smack wobble.
Oh, now that's interesting.
And that has been described by people that have just cracked up as they've been using it, that it feels like you're smacking someone with rubber chickens.
That is a mind fuck and a half.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you as a bottom, you don't notice the double bounce per se, but so that's kind of like an extra fun thing, I think, more for the top, which all of this is supposed to be fun for both partners. So, you know, it should be. And they are fun to use. I have used them, so they are fun to use. But yeah, I mean, the funny thing is actually talking about the implements, and I know the implements so well. We've had some of these for, you know, a decade now. And I still will be like, what was that? Song 3, what was that? And because he does 12 songs, so things mix together, and you know, I'll just remember this song was on and I was enjoying that implement. What implement was that this time? And it's cool because he usually remembers because he's got that kind of memory. But you know, it's cool, like when you're, even as a bottom, like you're sitting there in your mind, you're like, wait, what would it be? Like you're trying to figure it out. And sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So like even that aspect, like you're mentally engaging in so many more ways than, you know, because your mind is connecting to the music, connecting to the feel, and it really brings you in. And I'm one of those people with a wandering mind. So I'd rather my mind be wandering about what could this implement be than, you know, what I did have to do tomorrow around the house. So I think that's one of the things I love about this play is, and the only other place I felt that immersiveness is truly probably like in a yoga, like meditative type thing, where they always tell you it's okay if your mind wanders, just come back. And it's this body drumming is definitely that. Like your mind might wander for a little bit, but it's immersive, so your mind comes back so much easier. I think in some ways, because it, you know, you do kind of get to a meditative space, you know, subspace, whatever you as it goes. But it's, you know, mentally it does hold you more, I feel, than sometimes some other play.
I love it. Again, I think immersive is a really good descriptor for it, because again, it's auditory, it's the full sensation experience, I think.
Yeah. And you're blindfolded too. So, you know, and with it having headphones in, is yes, you're using the auditory sense with that, but you're blocking all other auditory senses out. So it just really, you know, you take away sight, but then you amplify only a certain sound. And I think that is for me as a bottom is definitely very important.
It's beautiful.
We use when we're at home, just any sort of like Alexa type of speaker, anything that's got good quality, and it sounds like surround sound, even though it might only be one device, but something along that line, so you still feel immersive. When we're at places that we can't make a bunch of noise, like a dungeon party, we do have the headset option, like she was saying. And that one is actually one of the aspects that people, in addition to the case, are the most intrigued by, because a lot of folks assume we use some sort of Bluetooth option, and that one doesn't work very well because of the fact that most of those type of setups is you have one sender, one receiver, and we have two people listening and have to have one source. So we actually went old school, similar to those folks that use the little RF transmitter in your car, plug your phone in, put it in the cup holder, and you listen to it on your car radio. It's the same concept. We actually started with that And it wasn't that powerful. It only had about a 3-foot range. So by the time you get to the end of the table, it's getting all staticky. So we got a more powerful version of that, and that's what we use. So now we can have near unlimited radios listening to that frequency that we're sending our music on. That's how we're able, so for both of us to listen, to have 4 people at our table do it, to have multiple tables at the same time, all participating, or even just a bunch of spectators, just using that technology. And that's worked wonderful for us. I mean, up through the last 11 years at this point.
Sometimes the newest technology is not the best, we have found.
I definitely get that for sure. And also, I'm not a huge fan necessarily of earbuds all the time. They don't feel great in my ears. But yeah.
Well, we don't do earbuds because I hate earbuds. So we always use like over the ear headsets. Yeah, I don't own a single pair of rechargeable AirPods or their friends because I can't do anything in my ears. So which makes now the fact that you can't plug in a headphone jack into your phones more complicated, but you know, we we do what we got to do.
It works one way or the other, right?
Yeah.
So, what is it that you guys find that if you had to like distill it to where what you love most about this style of play, what do you think that is for you?
Mine is, you've heard the phrase "dance like no one's watching." Well, you can do that, but people are watching. So if you like people to be able to be entertained by it, you get the warm and fuzzies from that, but you also just get the bebop and just have a good time. You know, it's the same experience as if you're dancing in the club or your favorite song is on. You just get all those good emotions. Now, obviously, you can throw in the whole stuff about being a mini sadist and liking to be a top and all that. You can throw, I mean, a whole bunch of stuff on top of it, but that's the single biggest reason. I also love the fact that it's a near nonstop play. I'm every song I'm hearing in the car or at the store, I'm screening for if it's something that I can use. So I'm always in that mode. I'm always looking at stuff on YouTube, and I'll listen to a song and it'll recommend 14 other things, and I'll go down some unbelievable rabbit holes. Sometimes you get some inspiration, sometimes you don't, but it's almost like a nonstop scene. And from her aspect, she's kind of mentioned the same thing, where she'll hear a song that we've used and it'll bring her back to that.
Yeah. I mean, we have our favorites that stay in the play set most of the time. And the favorites are great because they just you're just know you're gonna have fun. As soon as I hear the first few beats of Girlfriend by Avril Lavigne, I'm ready to jam. I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. I can get all, because I feel the energy from him and the song and the impact, and I'm just ready to dance and bebop too. So if I hear Girlfriend anywhere, that's the case. But then it also allows him to put totally new and songs that he's found from his rabbit holes in there, and I'll be like, what was that song? And then you have fun with it. You're like, oh, well, wait a minute, that song was weird, but that was fun. And so what we love and I love is that it is so fun and it's so shareable. And I think that is, we get to share our love of body drumming, and other people, I guess that's what, I'm a former teacher, so I love teaching, and this is allowing me to teach something, I guess, and that I'm passionate about. So but yeah, for sure, it's just that it's fun. It's fun. And yeah, I love the impact. I love the mental space, the calm at the end of the set. But it's yeah, the journey is I guess during the scene is just as important.
And from everyone else, what we've heard in terms of what they like the most or why it's different than other stuff is just the energy. Whether they're part of the scene or not, it's something that they don't get anywhere else. So we've heard that so many times since we've started on that we've put it into our class just because of that now.
Yeah. And you can for sure tell the energy of the person drumming, because I've had lots of people drum on me, and I know Kevin's energy. I can feel Kevin's energy. Sorry, Boomer. Sorry. Boomer's energy. I can feel exactly where he is almost always. Because everybody's energy is different. Now, every once in a while, somebody will trick me and I won't be able to tell, but and the thing when he said drum like nobody's watching or dance like nobody's watching, drum like nobody's watching, because if you're self-conscious and you're worried, then that's what comes through. So even if you're not that great at drumming, if you throw your love of it and you just are like, this song rocks, I'm having fun, the bottom feels the fun. Like the bottom feels the fun. The bottom doesn't feel like, oh, they're doing a terrible job. Because that's truthfully, that is very true. You feel the person's energy.
And part of that can be confidence. And, it's different playing something off my playlist versus if they're customizing on their own. But that's part of the individual part of this, where everyone who does this type of play has a very different type of play. The people who taught us did Mediterranean belly dancing music. Other folks do 80s rock. Some other folks do a tribal and like Blue Man Group type music. We do largely pop, or most songs that people have heard. There's some more, kind of bleeding edge or, stuff that out in the last couple of years, but most of the stuff people have heard, and it's, on those top pop lists.
We are 80s children, so you're getting a lot of 90s and early 2000s music, but that's where we started. And then you get the 80s songs in our playlist, you get the current songs in our playlist, because it's just that love of music. And so, and that there is no one right time period or one right type of music. As long as it has a beat and you can move to it and you can drum to it, then, it's to each his own.
I feel like this is going to be like my new favorite aftercare.
And you start learning from people, you can kind of tell what the reactions are. You got the little feet will do, the little butt will wiggle, the hand will bebop. You can kind of tell which songs they get into, and can start crafting more specialized playlists for those types of people. And so that increases my after scene stuff, because I'm looking for new music and I'm trying stuff out. And I do enough demos with many other people that I'm not always playing the same 12 songs. Being able to do it with other people lets me try a whole bunch of new stuff out. Maybe if it's good enough, I will move it over to something that's more regular for us. But it gives me the chances to experiment as well.
Well, guys, your joy with this kind of play is absolutely infectious, and which is a good thing in this case. Usually when I'm talking about infectious things, I'm talking about how to avoid it, but infectious joy is a good thing. I absolutely love how passionate you are about this, and I think it's going to be a fantastic thing for folks who are interested, who are attending Reign of Pain, to be able to watch and learn the skill from you both. And I really appreciate you sharing this part of your journey and just your love of this kind of play and your relationship with us all. So if folks wanted to take a look and maybe ask you some more questions about this, where could they contact you?
They could reach me, Boomerstud, on FET. I've got the avatar of the Muppet animal playing drumsticks. I've had that for almost the entire time. On my profile, we've got all the pictures of all the implements we use, a lot of the cases that I have, a lot of the thoughts on why I use ones or where I got the materials for. We're also admins or heads of a group on FET called the Cincinnati Body Drumming Group, that folks can also ask anything from implement questions to PlaySick questions, or we get a lot of people asking us about the sound system we were talking about, so that they can try to create the stuff on their own.
That's fantastic. Thank you both so much for joining us for tonight. And I am looking forward to being able to record this class and getting it up for folks to watch and just enjoy and infuse that joy back into kink.
Yep.
So
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We enjoyed it as well.
we will see you for the next episode of the Reign of Pain podcast. Catch you later, folks.